Breaking overnight, they got him. U.S. authorities say they have captured two Mexican drug kingpins, including former cartel boss El Chapo's son. The two were arrested in the U.S. after evading law enforcement for decades. Officials say Ismael Zambada, known as El Mayo, and Joaquin Guzman Lopez, the son of El Chapo, were taken into custody after boarding a plane under the pretense of inspecting a property in Mexico when they got a surprise of their lives. Let's get straight to CNN's Polo Sandoval with the details. So what happened? They got him on this plane and then?
So we can't overstate this enough. This is a massive victory for the U.S. government, Sarah. You have one of the most wanted cartel bosses, at least wanted by the federal government, a multi-million-dollar price on his head, who, together with Joaquin Guzman, we all know him as El Chapo, helped actually establish the Sinaloa cartel, was essentially tricked to fly into the waiting arms of U.S. law enforcement. It really reads out of a Narcos episode, but it's reality here. A little bit about Ismael Zambada, who's known by authorities as El Mayo. He oversaw, according to federal prosecutors, the manufacturing and the distribution of narcotics going all the way back to 1989. And up until this year, according to federal prosecutors, El Mayo in his mid-70s, this is an old school kind of cartel boss, right? He kept a low profile, unlike his partner. Probably one of the reasons why, up until now, he hadn't actually set foot in a cell. In fact, it's very difficult even finding recent photographs of this individual. But some of those pictures that you just saw a short while ago, those were actually taken not far from El Paso, about 20 miles away from El Paso. According to what I've heard, as well as some of my other colleagues heard from some of those investigators, those sources close to the investigation, he stepped aboard this airplane yesterday under false pretenses that he would be flying to see a property, potentially to buy it. And he had no idea that this plane would eventually land near El Paso, where U.S. authorities were waiting. As you can see in that footage, you see some of those federal investigators on the ground. They even actually attach a chain to the propeller of the plane that is believed to have been the one that actually flew El Mayo, as well as Joaquin Guzman Lopez, one of Chapo's sons, who's accused of also running the Sinaloa crime syndicate. While his whereabouts, while El Mayo's whereabouts are still unclear, I can tell you, Sarah, that a U.S. DOJ aircraft that's frequently used for extraditions of fugitives and of suspects traveled from El Paso to the Chicago area this morning, and that is important because El Mayo actually has an outstanding indictment, one of several there in that district. But one of the big questions, will this actually reshape the cartel landscape? Right. Is the Sinaloa cartel no more? I can tell you, absolutely not. If anything, what I've seen in the past, this only leads to infighting, friction, and a power struggle to fill a void. And what a void this is, especially for this sort of elder cartel boss that is now in U.S. custody. And then the final and perhaps the most key question here, who actually betrayed him? There is some reporting out there and several leads that we're following that suggested it possibly was from within the Sinaloa cartel syndicate, but not yet ready to actually go there. Finally, I do want you to hear directly from the U.S. Attorney General that was ultimately the one who finally confirmed this hours after we started hearing about this yesterday afternoon, about the significance of this arrest.
Fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat our country has ever faced. The Justice Department will not rest until every single cartel leader, member, and associate responsible for poisoning our communities is held accountable.
Major Garland, really sort of punctuating the significance of this because the Sinaloa cartel, according to the DA, is believed to have provided, or at least manufactured and distributed, a majority of the fentanyl that has ended up here in the United States, killing many, many Americans.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of Americans. It is an incredible get. And it will be interesting to see what happens with the cartel. Like you said, the infighting sometimes helps bring more people to justice as well. So we will see. Sure. Polo Sandoval, thank you for your reporting. Appreciate it.